storylines for the second half. What were the best games of the first half of the year? And we have results from the Athletic survey.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode is presented by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. This show, one favorite non-Bears Chicago sports podcast in the Athletic. We will follow up on that in full later in the show. That'll be the last thing we do. What were the best games of the first half for the Cubs? We'll do that as well. And we start with second half storyline, Sam. As for me, there is, a bunch of them, and I have 5 in front of me here. But what I'm learning over the last couple of years is they've flirted with contention, flirted with seller, buyer. There's one goal, and that's to win the NL Central. I don't see how there isn't another top storyline entering the last 66 games. Do you?
No, I think that's number one. I think that's been number one since the Cubs opening day in Japan. It's winning this division. And, I don't know, the way the postseason works now, it's so tricky because what if you were to tell me right now the Cubs don't win the division, but they make a wild card run all the way to the World Series, I would also take that. But it just feels like with everything that they've put into this, financial resources with compared to the other teams in the division, not compared to the rest of the league, but they're spending about almost $90 million more than the Brewers, and that's a lot of money with the play that you've gotten from PCA and the big risk trade with Kyle Tucker. It feels like it would be a big disappointment if they didn't, and so I think that's number one. I agree.
It has to be number one.
Yeah.
This team hasn't won a division, excluding the shortened 20 campaign, hasn't won a division since 2017, hasn't won a playoff game since 2017. And so much has happened since then. In order for them to have a so-called successful season, and yes, have we allowed ourselves to dream? Sure. Do I peek at the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Mets and whoever else might come in between the Cubs and the possibility of really big heights this year? Absolutely. But the Brewers are also right now one of the best teams in baseball. And so we're enjoying this season for sure, acknowledging, wow, the Cubs have been a great team, but the goal is clear now even than it was a couple of weeks ago. And yes, some of that is because of what's happened in the rearview mirror, but it's all part of the puzzle. And I'm not sure if 90 wins would win this division. I think it may take more, but you still have to come out on top. A wild card berth, I'm not even going there.
Yeah, good
Win
idea.
the division.
I agree. What's next?
Trade deadline strategy.
I disagree.
There is only 12 games until the trade deadline, folks. We're going to preview more of the 12 games for our last episode on this All-Star week before the Cubs resume play against the Red Sox. Are the Cubs going to go all in? Are they going to get a starter that could start game 2 of the NLDS, or is he just going to be more of a depth guy? Are they going to get a third baseman? Are they going to get a reliever? Is that reliever going to knock everybody else down on the depth chart? What say you?
Well, do you want me to talk trade, or do you want me to tell you what my number 2 would be?
Sure. Tell me your number 2, because I think this is a major storyline, because if they get Adrian Hauser, that's a problem.
I think it's the number 3 storyline. I
Right.
think number 1 is winning the division, and I think number 2 is Kyle Tucker.
Well, he's my 3rd.
Okay. So
we're pretty close as it is.
All right, so then let's go out. Let's talk trades, and we'll hit Tucker next. Yeah, the trade deadline is very tricky because I think the easy thing to do and the smart thing to do is to go, hey, they got to get X, Y, and Z in order to get to the playoffs or in order to win the division and all those things. But they really put themselves in a good spot in the sense that they're buyers, but also a spot where they need the trade deadline. This team, let's just say it, as currently constructed, they will not win the Central. They need to make an addition. Oh, for sure. They have to make another pitching addition.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
But they're in this position where there's not a ton of sellers. Hopefully there'll be more as we get closer to the trade deadline. And so, and it's a seller's market. They're going to be competing. And, the term that I've heard a lot is they're going to have to overpay. They're probably going to have to pay 150 cents on the dollar in order to get said starter that you're talking about. And so, yes, I think it's the biggest story, one of the biggest stories, but I also am just a little frustrated because I feel like this could have been a lot less of a story before the season. Because before the season,
of course,
they knew they needed a pitcher. They were at the 2-yard line, to use your term, with Jesus Luzardo. It didn't work. And then they lost arguably their best pitcher to season-ending surgery. So now they really need 2 from what their actions have told you. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be 1 guy and then another depth piece. But yes, all that is, yes, it's a huge story. Just I think it's number 3 for me.
As we marinate this week without games, have you allowed yourself to dream about a Mackenzie Gore?
No.
Do you think they could rehab Sandy Alcantara? Is Mitch Keller good enough? What are you thinking?
Mackenzie Gore, I just can't see the Nationals making that deal with a new GM and whatever. I really don't think the Cubs want to go with a huge risk like Alcantara has been. They need a surefire thing. I think like here's a great question. Is Keller and Soroka enough? Both of them. I don't think it is, probably, but because Keller's pretty good. I know Bubic got knocked around a little bit in the All-Star game. Outside of Cabrera, he's my number 1 target. I think you give him the ball game 2, you feel pretty good. And
Cabrera had a little bit of a scare last start, right? But he's okay.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, he left early, but I haven't heard any bad stuff. And Suarez got hit yesterday on the finger at the end of the game. I believe
Suarez, right?
By the same Sox pitcher that hurt him the first time.
Shane Smith.
Hurt him the first time. So no, it's going to be a lot. I really, to answer your question, haven't done that because it could get overwhelming.
I have 2 players as the next 2 storylines, followed by Craig Counsell.
Okay.
And we get to that right after this.
This episode is brought to you by GameTime. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where GameTime comes in. GameTime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you could save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. In addition to concerts, I've used GameTime exclusively to watch the Chicago Cubs play in person. And I got to tell you, if I could get my schedule situated a little bit, there's a chance I wake up at about 7:30 a.m. on Saturday and make a decision to go to Wrigley Field last minute, watch the Cubs hopefully win the first 2 against the Boston Red Sox. You could do that on GameTime. It's easy, and the longer you wait, the better of a deal you're going to get. So take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
We are going over second half storylines for the Cubs. 66 games remaining, 12 until the trade Deadline 3 with the Red Sox to lead off that set, beginning at 1:20 p.m. on Friday. My third storyline is a player. His name is Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
Weird commentary on the Fox broadcast last night, by the way. Some of that was when Tucker was batting. He called him under the radar. Is he still under the radar?
I think his
No
I think his personality makes
Okay.
him feel to people like he's under the radar because he's so even keel.
He is the key. It's not cliche to say. He is a major key to their success the rest of the way, no matter what happens. He is the piece piece to all of this.
Yeah, and I have him too, not just because of the on the field, but I mean the off the field stuff. I mean,
Okay.
This is
good observation.
We are here. It is now post All-Star game.
Yeah.
And the Cubs have not extended Kyle Tucker yet. And if I remember correctly, All-Star game was right about your deadline.
Yes, it was.
And my deadline was about June, mid-June. Oof. So I just think, he had a quote today saying, like, why not? When asked, sure, why not? Or something. Did you see that?
Okay.
About
briefly.
I just think that this season is as fun as it's been. It always feels like that question is looming over everything. And if Kyle Tucker gets red hot to start the second half, which I wouldn't be surprised if he did, those talks are going to continue in our business and in the media. If he continues to slump, those talks are going to continue in our media and our business. Having a player of his caliber in a walk year when you traded what looks like to be a present stud and a future really good, maybe even a great player like Cam Smith, it's a big story, Matt, whether we want to talk about it or we don't, it isn't. And I'll loop in. I'll skip over Carter Hawkins. I'll skip over Jed Hoyer, and I'll loop in Tom Ricketts as well into that story. Of course. Because,
you have to.
If we get, how long are we going to get to where he's not coming? He's going to free agency at some point here. If they don't extend him, they haven't extended him. And if he goes to free agency, I cannot see a path where the Cubs outbid other teams for him. I just can't.
Well, as of right now, I'd be surprised if he didn't reach free agency.
Right.
However, as we've said before, if they don't re-sign him, there will be marches in the streets. Gallagher Way will be full. There will be people with signs. I don't know if it would be to that level, but there's going to be a wheel of emotions if that day comes. And I'm already very, very fatigued over, you don't want to pay him 50 M's when he's 37. Okay, well, then you're not going to get him.
Yeah, right.
Then the Phillies, the Yankees, or the Red Sox will sign him.
And it's really...
They will.
It's
those are the three main competitors, by the way.
It's two separate conversations. That's what I would encourage people to look at it. One conversation is he good enough to give the deal to long-term? But the other part is, remember, the Cubs didn't even approach Juan Soto. It's not about his ability.
Yeah.
We need to see the Cubs go for it, make a deal like this I think so. Our sanity. So even if deep down you go, well, I'm a little bit nervous about Tucker when he's in his mid-30s, fine. But if not him, then who? Who?
Absolutely. They need to act like one of the best franchises on the globe and lock up not only a top-tier talent, but one that was already in your house, under your roof for a whole year. And so he's the third storyline. The fourth for me is Matthew Boyd. And maybe in parentheses, Shota Imanaga question mark.
Okay.
The starting rotation has mostly held serve despite Justin Steele being out basically the entire season, despite another top pitcher in Shota being out 8 weeks. And the main reason why is Matthew Boyd. I hope he stays healthy. If he does, I think the Cubs will be in fairly good shape, provided they add another guy or two. But as of right now, Boyd would take the ball in game one.
I would loop in. I would loop in at number 4 instead of going Matthew Boyd. I'd go something. can the overachievers continue to overachieve? So, and Boyd being one of them, I'd have Boyd in there, Bush in there, maybe Pete, just because that's been Kelly. That's been such a huge part of it. And I think the theme in the second half for this team to win the division is they're going to need Boyd to continue being great. They're going to need Kelly to continue being really good. They're going to need Pete to continue being this elite level player, because even if one of them regresses quickly, it could be a huge problem depending on what they do in the deadline. But I would say Boyd's probably the leader in that clubhouse of, what do the Cubs do if Matthew Boyd hits a rough patch or gets hurt or something? So, I'm on your wavelength there.
If the Cubs finish 500 the rest of the way, they will win 90 games. I do feel like towards the top of the list of them winning more is the manager.
Yeah.
And he was in a big-time observation, listening phase last year. He has certainly exerted his influence in the winter, now in the summer, on the roster. And if they're going to do it and do it big, I do think he's going to play a role.
Yeah, I got some really good statistics. Maybe for tomorrow we'll do.
Yeah, I want that about baseball math, right?
Yeah, about the 500 for 90 wins and all that stuff. It's very interesting. Yeah, I think Counsell has to be here, and I know that this probably is one that'll get a couple of eye rolls, but I think he has to be there as well because we're in a division race with the team he came from.
Wow.
And I think that matters a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. No, it does.
Just like, hey, and I know he doesn't care at all. I know
his bench coach is their manager.
Yeah, and it's like back-to-back years now, you're going to have the team that you left win the division over you, and the guy that you hired to be your bench coach. I just think, I know it's a little meatball-y. I get it. But I also think it's a story. I mean, I'll tell you, I bet you it's a story for Brewers fans. I bet you it's a motivation, for Brewers fans. I don't know where I'm going with that. Take. It's been a crazy day. But I think that's part of it. I really do. I think that's part of it. And yeah, I mean, he's done a good job this year, but I think he needs to win this division just as much as anybody does.
I don't know how much I attribute the bullpen resurgence to Craig Counsell or the rotation holding serve. But offensively, Sam, just in the last 10 days, actually probably less, Swanson's out of the 5-hole. Hap's out of the leadoff spot. Shaw is going back to AAA. Yeah, that's Counsell.
No, and when I graded him yesterday, I gave him a B+. And the B+ I gave him is exactly what you just said. He showed urgency. How about the job with Palencia? I mean, he went right back. He went right back to Palencia the day after Palencia blew that save in Miami. That's good managing because now that guy is your best reliever, and I didn't see that coming. So I think Craig's done a lot of good this year, and I think he needs to continue.
I look forward to baseball math. On Friday's episode. Because I think it's okay to get greedy, and so when you break down some of these facts and figures. I think we'll get a good sense of, how many games can they win, different stretches of the season, past, present, or future, and all that sort of thing. All right, coming up next, I have the best games of the first half. What do you remember about these? And we give the full results and write-up from the Athletics Chicago Sports Media Survey. Stay tuned. All right, this morning I put together a list of the top 5 games from the first half.
Excited.
And I have them in front of me in calendar order.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Okay, so I didn't rank them. Just doing it from the April to now.
So. Okay, very cool.
First one is April 18th. Do you remember? If I gave you a date, would you be able to spit something back or not really?
I could try.
Okay.
Is this the Arizona game?
It is. Cubs 13-11 over the Diamondbacks in a crazy wind-filled game.
What was? Yeah, that was
just a football-ish game.
Unbelievable game.
Unbelievable. Kyle Tucker, big time in that game.
Big time.
Carson Kelly, if I remember right. Saya.
Heard it all in the car.
Yeah, I heard most of it in the car as well.
That was,
And it was Good Friday and huge
did
win.
it? I mean, I think they gave up like an 8 or 9 run 7th to blow the lead.
Yes, they did.
And then they came back and won on a wind howling out day at Wrigley. That one's in the top 2.
And Marquee is showing a few games this week. I believe that's one of them. That makes sense.
As they should.
Only a few days later, Sam,
the Dodger game.
The Cubs won 11-10 in 10 over the Los Angeles Dodgers.
That was my number 1 game.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, I'm curious to hear what you have. I think that's my number 1.
I didn't rank them. So.
No, I know, but there might be another one that pops up where I say, "Oh, you're right. That one's better."
Oh, okay. Ian Happ walk off, right?
Yeah, and Amaya.
Amaya.
Nobody on, 2 out, down a run. That was also the Gage Workman DFA game. He made another huge error,
wow.
and it was like, and I was solo that night. I literally had a whole show planned of like, hey, why are we letting Gage? And think about how important that game is. If you lose that, you're tied right now. Like these games, they do matter. And I was like, I can't believe we're letting Gage Workman ruin this great start to the season, whatever. And as I'm getting ready to go, Amaya solo homer ties it.
Easy.
Porter Hodge, his best moment of the season. He threw that extra inning in the 10th.
That's
and
right.
Then Ian Happ walked him off.
All right. This was the 2 games in the same series in late May against the Reds. I picked the Sunday game.
Okay.
11-8 over the Reds. I believe they were down 8-3. They won 11-8. So
yeah, it was a Sunday.
That would be 8 unanswered runs. But 2 days prior, they were down 6-2.
PCA
and
game.
won 13-6.
Yeah, that was the PCA game.
PCA Grand Slam. So I guess I gave you 2 games there, but I went with that series finale. What about you?
Yeah, both are great. Both are great. Friday, I remember, is the PCA game. Sunday, I remember, I think it was Ben Brown on the mound, had a really hard time. And,
yes, he did.
And then they rallied back, and these are, so far, you're spot on, I think.
This was the first game for second show, but first game back for me after Bennett was born.
Oh.
Cubs, June 17th, Cubs 5-3 over the Brewers.
Oh, great.
PCA off the scoreboard, PCA catch.
Yep.
One of the best games of the year.
And that was the high water mark. I believe that took them to 6.5 up on the division.
Yeah, you're right.
Night. I think when they won that, they were 6.5 up.
6.5.
PCA hit a home run. Like you said, he made a great catch, and Saya had a huge home run in that game as well, if I remember correctly.
Okay. All right, then the last one is the last game they played. 4-1 Sunday over the Yankees. It was 1-1 for a while. You wanted to get momentum into the break, and I thought they clutched up and got it.
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to think if I have any off the
Are there
top.
any other games that come to mind
that stick out?
90 plus.
Turner's walk-off against the Marlins was a fun one. The July 4th explosion from the bats, I think, is in the conversation.
Maybe that Friday night game explosion, Apple TV in Milwaukee.
Was just going to say that. There's been a lot of them. They have a lot of wins, and they haven't won a ton of conventional games. When they win, it's usually pretty loud. So yeah, I think those 5 are pretty good.
Where does the game you went to on the 3rd of July rank? Top 10?
No.
Top 12?
No, it was that game.
Oh,
I could have read. I could have read a newspaper and.
The Tribune, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice walk-off 1-0 win against Cleveland. I'm not going to go against it, but to say it would not be in my top 10. Anthony and I were talking about like fantasy football through most of that game. So.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, it was not overly exciting.
Wow, something I do not want to take part in.
Hot in the bleachers, too.
So last week we discussed The Athletic put out a Chicago sports media survey, mainly focused on radio and podcasting. And there was a favorite non-Bears Chicago sports podcast. There were several that were listed. We were not. So I composed one tweet, and looking back on it, it was very teacher-like, including a screenshot.
It was very
almost
teacher-like.
giving people directions on what to do, how to write us in. We talked about at the top of Friday's show last week, and almost 1,000 of you voted as we won that category by a lot. John Greenberg, the author of this, put out a story on Wednesday morning, and very cool. And then to top it off, I just want to. I wish I could screen share. I think I actually can. I've just never test drove it here. Then to top it off, the last category was the best X follow in all of Chicago sports media. And I actually get to read. I'd like to read at least this first part.
Okay.
John Greenberg says he doubted the passion of the Locked On Cubs superfans. Sam Olber, the co-host of the podcast, might only have 6,932 followers, but he easily won this category with 9.2% of the vote. So the show won, and Sam is the best follow in all of Chicago sports media. Pretty cool.
What did the last line say?
And then the last line is a reference to a big cat over at Barstool who was second.
Who's fantastic.
John Greenberg says, I'm guessing also might go to FS1, Sam. I don't know if
I just saw that right before we went on. Yeah.
I'm guessing cats make slightly more money podcasting than Olber. So this is a win for the little guy.
Who?
The little guy, meaning the David versus Goliath, or the little engine that could, and the underdog, if you will.
Very grateful to our listeners. Very great. First of all, very grateful to you. Very grateful to you for being on this, because if it wasn't for you, I would have had no idea this was happening.
Okay.
So thank you. No, seriously.
Yeah.
I don't, you're on top.
I appreciate you saying that.
No, I'm serious. Thanks. That's people don't understand. One of the real secret sauces of our success is Matt. He knows what's going on. After this, I'm going to have a sandwich and watch some soccer. So I'm not I'm not really on it like that. But yeah, man, I mean, just for our listeners to do that, I think was extraordinary. I think it's all about them. A little bit about you getting it out, and all about them showing up and showing out for us and showing their loyalty and stuff.
Oh, incredible.
And making this little guy feel appreciated. So
yes,
I'm grateful for the group that we have.
And absolutely. And we did take initiative to get our name out there, like Greenberg notes in the story. But I have no regrets. No regrets.
Well, what possibly could you regret? We got him an extra how many thousands people voted for his stuff, and I'm sure most of our listeners voted for everything. Yeah, they probably did. Yeah. That's a great point. So very thankful. I'm going to enjoy this, and hope you do as well, Sam. Mm-hmm.
And really want the Cubs to win Friday to start the second half well.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in full.
We will on the next episode. Lucas Giolito and the 10 in a row Red Sox.
If I told you Colin Ray was getting the ball the first game out of the break, what would you say the Cubs record is?
Like 500.
Yeah, I'd say less. So that's pretty cool.
Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Who's going to start the third game? Horton?
I don't know.
TBD right now. Your team every day for your second listen. Check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on the Locked On MLB channel on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, we'll be back Friday. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.